This is Epic Book Recaps, a podcast that offers complimentary audio summaries of influential nonfiction books, making learning a smarter experience. The Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger. The combination of nature and nurture are instrumental and indispensable in shaping both our personal and professional traits. The moment a specific attribute becomes concrete in our personal lives, its impact is seamlessly adaptable and applicable to our professional endeavors. Taking a leaf from the lifebook of Robert Iger, his parents significantly fostered his growth by encouraging the cultivation of certain personal traits from a tender age. His father, for example, was a staunch advocate for reading and instilled in Iger a profound love for books dating back to his high school years. Similarly, his mother ignited his curiosity for technology and the mechanisms that make things function. It's important to remember that building and establishing core traits isn't an overnight process. It requires deliberate effort, making an early start crucial. Take honesty and integrity, for instance. These are virtues that can only be cultivated through consistent nurturing. Other traits, on the other hand, are born out of rich experiences. According to Robert Iger, there are 10 fundamental principles that can transform you into a superior leader. These include maintaining an optimistic outlook even when faced with tough decisions, being courageous enough to take risks in an ever-evolving business environment, efficiently managing your time, energy, and resources, making tough decisions promptly, staying curious and highly informed about your marketplace, ensuring fair and decent treatment of people, continually expanding your knowledge base to make accurate and credible decisions, being genuine and truthful to earn respect and trust, rejecting mediocrity when the result is below par, setting lofty ethical standards for the people and products within your organization. Although these principles may seem like nothing new, they remain the gold standard for effective leadership. They may look straightforward and familiar, but surprisingly, a 2016 Gallup poll revealed that only 18% of managers demonstrate high-level talent in managing others. This striking statistic implies that a significant 82% of managers need to sharpen their leadership skills. Clearly articulating your priorities as a leader is a time, energy, and resources saver. I invite you to delve deeper into how the victories, obstacles, and defeats experienced by Robert Iger can aid you in becoming more self-assured and fearless in both your personal and professional journey. There's a delicate balance between pushing your team to perform and instilling a fear of failure. Robert Iger had to start from scratch, given that he had no formal education or experience in television production. He embarked on his career journey at ABC on the 1st of July 1974 as a studio supervisor. Working with the legendary Roone Arledge, the head of ABC Sports, was a transformative experience for Iger. Roone was a perfectionist who never accepted good enough, pushing his team to their limits to produce exceptional shows. Roone's relentless pursuit of innovation revolutionized the televised sports experience, with his competitive nature and readiness to experiment with new technologies for the shows. This ethos was instrumental in shaping Iger's own philosophy of innovate or die. Working for a perfectionist like Roone, who saw every detail as crucial and constantly demanded improvements, could be frustrating. However, the team's dedication coupled with the remarkable results more than made up for the challenges. Inspired by Roone's work philosophy, Iger formulated his vision of perfection that didn't involve compromising quality under any circumstances. This mindset helped him resist the temptation to settle for subpar results. Roone's persistent refusal to take no for an answer enabled Iger and his team to achieve a milestone in 1979, when ABC Sports became the first U.S. media team to gain access into North Korea for the live coverage of the World Table Tennis Championships. Most of Roon's employees were motivated to live up to his high standards and expectations. Being part of something exceptional was a source of inspiration. However, a true leader should always remember to consider their team's well-being while striving for product perfection. The objective of healthy perfectionism is to unlock the full potential of the staff without causing exhaustion. When you find yourself in a position of leadership, honesty is paramount because the livelihood of numerous people depends on you. Authentic leadership, first and foremost, involves being true to who you are. There should be no pretense or act of knowing everything when in reality you don't. Such misleading behavior can undermine your authority. However, the role of an executive isn't about possessing all the data, but how to apply it effectively. Therefore, acknowledging gaps in your knowledge should not be a barrier to accomplishing your mission. It's crucial to understand the fine line here. Robert Iger was acutely aware of his lack of experience in managing creative people and the workings of Hollywood when he became the head of ABC Entertainment. However, he didn't let this deter him. With the help of Stu Blumberg and Ted Harbert, who were responsible for primetime programming, he was able to navigate through this unfamiliar territory. During meetings with writers, agents, and managers, Iger had to put his ego aside and learn critical lessons about reading scripts and interacting with creative individuals. Taking massive creative risks was another critical aspect of Iger's leadership. His first major risk was airing the Twin Peaks show in the spring of 1990 despite opposition from executives and test audiences. The show went on to become a massive success within weeks, even featuring on the cover of Time magazine. However, it was later canceled due to a decline in ratings and poor storytelling. The second risk involved the musical show Cop Rock, which unfortunately ended up on the list of worst TV programs. Despite this failure, Iger stood by his decision, reiterating that he would rather take big risks and face failure than play it safe. Owning up to your failures is crucial. The third risk involved airing the first R-rated show, NYPD Blue. Despite initial resistance from ABC due to its standards and practices, the show went on to win 20 Emmys and became one of the best dramas. Robert Iger's unwavering support and bold decision-making played a significant role in helping his team bounce back from failure and produce outstanding shows. Do you know that Robert Iger was appointed as the president and COO of Capital Cities, ABC, in September 1994? It's important for a leader to create an environment that encourages growth and the assumption of more responsibilities. Employees are more motivated when they can see potential growth opportunities. As a leader, it's your role to nurture their aspirations as long as it doesn't distract them from their current roles or responsibilities. Striking a balance between excelling in your current role while keeping an eye out for other opportunities is crucial. These are the kind of individuals that leaders love to nurture, not those who constantly complain and demand promotions. Case in point, the owners of ABC Entertainment, Tom Murphy and Dan Burke, saw potential in Robert Iger because of his exemplary performance in his role. They invested in his growth because they wanted him to succeed and acquire the necessary knowledge that would enable him to run the company effectively. In return, he demonstrated loyalty and dedication to them. In 1994, Iger was appointed as the president and chief operating officer of Capital Cities ABC. Later on, Michael Eisner, Disney's CEO, decided to buy the company and began negotiations with Tom Murphy. This led to the signing of a deal. Despite numerous personal reasons that could have justified his departure from the company, Iger chose to stay because of his immense respect for Michael Eisner. Good leadership isn't about being irreplaceable. It's about grooming others to step into your shoes. Being a leader who listens and addresses concerns is worth its weight in gold. However, there are times when a leader must be firm and provide clear communication about tasks. Employees can become frustrated and unsure about their priorities if their leader fails to provide clarity. Robert Iger experienced this firsthand when Michael Eisner was hesitant to name him his successor despite his immense efforts and dedication to integrating ABC. Thankfully, everything turned out for the best when Eisner overcame his fear of losing his job. Optimism is the backbone of a smoothly running business since pessimism can demoralize the team and drain inspiration. When Disney's situation deteriorated following the Twin Towers attack, Michael Eisner lost his once infectious exuberance and became notably pessimistic. While his concerns were understandable, it's crucial for a leader to remain optimistic during challenging periods as their belief in success acts as a magnet for employees. Even the most audacious ideas can come to life with sufficient commitment, meticulousness, and energy. People often prefer to play it safe, but there are times when taking a risk is necessary. The relationship between Disney and Pixar was strained due to a deal made in the mid-90s. Initially, Pixar was a small player and Disney held all the power. However, when Pixar's films started becoming successful, the obligation to give sequel rights to Disney began to feel unfair. This led to a deepening conflict between Michael Eisner and Steve Jobs, the owner of Pixar. When Robert Iger became Disney's CEO in 2005, he decided to mend the relationship between the two companies. Moreover, he made the bold move of proposing to Steve Jobs that Disney buy Pixar. The potential disadvantages outweighed the advantages. However, Steve Jobs was open to negotiation on the condition that Robert Iger could convince John Lasseter and Ed Catmull, the key figures at Pixar. In reality, Disney Animation is the engine that powered other facets of the company, like theme parks, television, and consumer products. However, many of its cartoons, such as Atlantis and Chicken Little, were a commercial failure. This caused significant financial loss and led to a crisis within the studio. On the other hand, Pixar was flourishing. The quality of animation, groundbreaking technologies, innovative worlds and characters, the culture of feedback, and the creative environment were nothing short of extraordinary. Iger admitted that his visit to the company was one of the best workdays he has ever had. The technology, leadership structure, commitment to quality, and enthusiastic collaboration gave Pixar a culture that any business would aspire to have. Robert Iger managed to convince Steve Jobs and the Pixar team. However, the Disney board was skeptical due to a series of difficult years. Iger had to persuade them. In January 2006, he invited Steve, John, and Ed to present Pixar's philosophy and culture to the Disney board. Their passion, persistence, and strategies to revive the studio's cartoons had the desired effect. Most board members were convinced and ready to take a significant risk. This bold move led to the birth of a new reality. The acquisition of Pixar injected new life into Disney Animation. It was a necessity. Additionally, it laid the foundation for Iger's long-term goal of company growth. Disney needed cutting-edge technologies and engaging content to achieve this aim. Soon enough, the opportunity presented itself. Disney developed a strategy to maintain its position in the market. After analyzing the market, Iger and his team decided to pursue intellectual property, IP. They set their sights on Marvel Entertainment and Lucasfilm. However, it appeared that neither company was interested in selling. Marvel Entertainment had some additional challenges. It was already contractually obligated to other studios, so the IP acquisition wouldn't be as clean as Disney would have liked. For example, Columbia Pictures, which later became Sony, had the rights to Spider-Man, Universal controlled The Incredible Hulk, and Fox owned the Fantastic Four and X-Men. Additionally, Marvel and Paramount had a distribution agreement. As a result, even the IPs for some upcoming films would only partially belong to Disney. All these factors could potentially lead to brand confusion and licensing problems down the line. Despite these challenges, Iger often found himself poring over his trusty Marvel encyclopedia, analyzing characters and stories. He recognized the potential of this deal. It wasn't just about acquiring a studio, it was about gaining access to an entire fictional universe. Marvel's CEO and controlling shareholder Ike Perlmutter was a reclusive figure. He was a former Israeli military man who shunned the public eye and never had his picture taken. After trying to book a meeting with him for over 6 months, Iger finally managed to meet him in June 2009 at the Marvel offices in Manhattan. Ike was so wary of this persistent leader that he neither accepted nor rejected his offer to sell the company to Disney. Instead, Ike suggested that they meet for dinner at the Post House, a steak restaurant. Over dinner, they discussed other businesses that Ike ran. Iger knew that Ike wasn't fond of corporate culture or Hollywood slickness, so he made sure to be direct and genuine. On the 31st of August 2009, Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion. Even though Disney couldn't acquire the rights for Spider-Man or other comics controlled by other studios, they still gained access to the talent and the content. The acquisition of Marvel has turned out to be a resounding success. Did you know? Iger's order was a decisive factor in the production of Black Panther and Captain Marvel. Both movies proved all skeptics wrong by performing exceptionally well internationally and having a significant cultural impact. As a leader, it's crucial to maintain a clear stance at every stage of the process. Before the acquisition of Marvel, Iger visited Cupertino to meet with Steve Jobs and seek his counsel on the deal. Although Steve wasn't overly enthusiastic about Marvel, he encouraged Iger to proceed with the sale. He even called Ike to persuade him to accept the offer. When Steve found out that Disney was interested in Lucasfilm, he advised Iger to get in touch with George Lucas. Steve had bought Pixar from George, and they had maintained a close relationship over the years. Disney had a history with George. Thanks to a deal in the mid-'80s, attractions that bring people into the worlds of Indiana Jones and Star Wars were part of the company's theme parks. In May 2011, when the Star Wars attractions were reopening after a year-long refurbishing, Iger met George, who came to rededicate them. After having breakfast with George and his fiancée, Melody Hobson, Iger inquired about his interest in selling Lucasfilm. He received a positive response when they met again for lunch at Disney in Burbank. Establishing trust with the main decision-maker makes significant business negotiations much easier. Disney offered to pay $4.5 billion for Lucasfilm and received immediate consent. However, discussions about the extent of George's influence on the working process took a considerable amount of time. They finally signed the sale on the 30th of October 2012. Each acquisition, Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, was a daunting challenge. However, in all instances, Iger utilized one of the most persuasive tools: authenticity. This helped to build trust, making the owners and CEOs believe in his promise to treat their companies with respect and provide them with an environment to thrive. However, the initial stages with Lucasfilm weren't smooth. According to the contract, George had no authority to influence the storyline of Star Wars. However, as the creator of an extraordinary fictional universe, he believed his ideas were more important than formalities. During the negotiations about the studio's acquisition, George shared his vision for 3 future films. Later, he sent outlines for these movies to Disney's executives. Understandably, he was disappointed when the final version deviated from his suggestions. Despite this, the film set box office records. Don't be in the business of playing it safe. Be in the business of creating possibilities for greatness. Tilda Robert Iger. Innovation provides the opportunity to disrupt yourself in an ever-changing market. Although Disney was making significant profits from the traditional distribution of content, Iger believed that the company needed to be at the forefront of change to avoid being adversely affected by it. During the early stage of his career at ABC Entertainment, Iger recalls seeing how newspapers were losing their influence. He feared that the same fate would befall TVs. Ever wondered why people seem more addicted to smartphones and smart devices nowadays? The answer lies in the fresh, endless content. For instance, if you switch on your TV to watch your favorite channel, you're likely to find it full of repetitive shows. Times have changed, and people don't hesitate to cancel their cable subscriptions in favor of streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, or Disney+. It's crucial to identify problems when you see them, but also propose possible solutions. In mid-2017, Iger advocated for acquiring a controlling stake in BAMTech. This technology platform would enable Disney and ESPN to deliver their streaming services directly to consumers. This decision represented a significant shift in the company's future direction. New processes, jobs, and priorities were on the horizon, causing many employees to feel uncertain. Many questioned the need for a new model, given that Disney was already successful. However, from a long-term perspective, it was necessary to have a contingency plan to prepare the company for the future. Managing transformation is a tricky process. This is when employees need their leader the most. It might be tempting for executives to use their busy schedules as an excuse to avoid addressing individual concerns and issues during periods of change when things get busier. However, the success of the company is closely tied to the team's belief in their leader. Being available and attentive to the needs of others can help maintain this belief. For example, when an urgent issue arises, it's better for a leader who travels frequently to use technology like Skype to respond quickly to problems within the company. Ignoring them until they escalate could be detrimental. Now more than ever, innovate or die. There can be no innovation if you operate out of fear of the new. Robert Iger. In today's fast-paced world, running a business can be intricate and challenging due to rapid technological advancements, fluctuating markets, and so on. To be successful, we need to abide by certain rules. Robert Iger has shared his pivotal ones. Firstly, remain true to yourself as you ascend the leadership ladder. Secondly, acknowledge your replaceability and delegate tasks to your advantage. It's practical to be efficient with how you spend your time, energy, and resources. For instance, when you're overwhelmed with too many projects, don't procrastinate until you have more time. Instead, set a deadline and delegate them to various team members. Thirdly, let perfectionism and optimism be your guiding principles. Your dedication and belief in success will attract many allies. Fourthly, make constant learning a priority. The market is in a persistent state of flux, and staying innovative is the only way to keep pace with it. Knowledge will empower you to take risks, which is crucial for success. Lastly, but most importantly, treat your team with respect and work hard to earn their trust and develop their potential. Do this. If you're currently feeling impatient with your job, identify potential opportunities and jot them down. But remember, you should always strive to excel in your current role so that you're top of mind when those opportunities arise. If you're in a position to hire new team members, look for capability, not just experience. Often, people don't realize their full potential. Also, consider candidates' genuine decency. This trait will significantly contribute to efficient workflow and excellent outcomes.